old, and our main focus is on vitamin A and vitamin D, these fat-soluble vitamins, which are gaining importance in the last 10 years, and some of the researchers are calling vitamin D test for clinical applications to be the test of the decade, with about 90 million to about 100 million tests being done worldwide as we speak. Our first foray into the diagnostic was for the development of diagnostic kits for estimation of vitamin A and vitamin D in dairy industry, and these kits are on the market, VitaKit A and VitaKit D, which does vitamin A and vitamin D analysis within 2 hours as compared to 5 to 10 working days, which are required currently for estimating these vitamins in the food and the dairy industry. Patents for these have already been issued, and approval or certification from the US has already been achieved for one of our kits, and the second kit is in the last stages. I'll focus or restrict my talk to vitamin D and its clinical applications for the blood analysis. Vitamin D over the last decade has been found to be an important micronutrient, and the main sources, as we all know, is UV or the sunlight, and today is not the right time to see that we'll have adequate vitamin D levels, and the fish oils are another sources. In addition, regulations are in place worldwide where food, milk, and other products are being fortified with vitamin A and D so that the normal optimal levels for the human beings are in place. And despite so much awareness, despite so much fortification around, still we in Canada, we are deficient in vitamin D. And it will give you a little bit about, and this vitamin D has also been linked to numerous studies that it has been linked to 17 different types of cancers, and you name a disease and it's linked to vitamin D deficiency. There's a mass clinical trials studies which have indicated that keeping the optimum level for the cancer patients alone has reduced the advancement of the cancer by about 50%. So some even call it as a super drug, because no other anti-cancer drug has brought that thing down to these type of things. And now look at the stats from Statistics Canada, McGill University, and other authors. In North America, we are deficient. 60 to 70% of the population is inadequate in vitamin D levels. And when you look in Canada, dangerously low means very negligible to very, very low concentration of vitamin D. 4% of the population is classified as dangerously low. You look at the Britons, they're 40%. So it's a little bit to cheer about within Canada that at least we are not that dangerously low in vitamin D. And another researcher has recently published a complete detailed analysis that Canadian healthcare system is about $40 billion just because of vitamin D to the healthcare system. So as I said earlier, despite so much awareness over the last decade, despite so much other alternatives are available to increase the blood levels of vitamin D, still 1/3 of the population at any given time is deficient in vitamin D, and especially at the end of every winter, 1/3 of the population is gravely or is seriously at vitamin D deficiency. You name any product from pet food to cereals to oils and all are being fortified with vitamin D as well as vitamin A. And there are some current technologies are available, whether they are based on radioimmunoassay, whether they are based on enzyme immunoassay, or they are based on LC-MS. None of these studies, I will show in my next slide, none of these studies confirm to the precision or the accuracy required for clinical analysis for the patient samples. And there's a famous report about Quest Diagnostics, which posted in 2002. They came out and they informed thousands of patients that over the period of time, they were providing inaccurate test results because there is not 100% or approved method for vitamin D analysis for the human beings. And all these assays, what do they require? They require expensive machines, they require trained personnel, maintenance, and other things. And assay for these things take from 6 hours to overnight. And sometimes most of these labs which we contacted, they are doing it as a batch analysis. So the patient will never come to know what is their optimal level at a very short notice. And what is the process right now? Patient has to go to the doctor prescribes a test, and test takes about a week to 10 days for reporting time. And by the time it's about 2 weeks. So despite the awareness in vitamin D specifically, there is a drastically increase in the government expenses. Currently in Canada, the average cost of the test is between $50 to $100 per test. Just this year, Ontario canceled the funding for vitamin D testing. Why? Because in 2009, they found that $38 million are being spent just on vitamin D testing alone. This is just the testing. It doesn't add to the visits to the doctors and other expenses. And in 2010, fiscal year 2010, they were expected that this expense is close to about $66 million. And now you compare that with their Ontario government's expense of $1.7 million in 2004. So there's a drastic increase over the last 4-5 years in the vitamin D analysis. And still there are no tests available which can guarantee the safe levels of these for the human beings. Other provinces, Newfoundland, again ended their vitamin D testing due to soaring or increasing of these vitamin D costs. BC has recently come out again to tell about the same thing to their doctors, not to recommend vitamin D testing quite often. So they have to restrict their testing. I don't have the data for Alberta, but I do. But I have heard from other sources from Alberta Health Services that yes, similar is the case for vitamin D, where a 400% increase has been found in Alberta for the vitamin D testing alone. Life Labs, with labs in BC, Ontario, and Quebec, have also reported 90% increase just from April to March of 2008. So this increasing trend of vitamin D testing has taken the public by surprise, has taken the governments by surprise. And where do we go from here? You see another report from Deacon's, again, a UK-based company which is involved in proficiency testing of this 25-hydroxyvitamin D alone. I should have said this earlier, which is the main metabolite which is of biological significance to the human beings. When they did a worldwide proficiency testing program, what did they find? None of the assays showed CVs less than 10%. And in clinical diagnostics, less than 5% is basically the norm, or to a maximum extent of about 10%. And the variation in the coefficient of variation in the results from lab to lab or within the assay varied from 15% to 75%, totally unacceptable from any clinical diagnostic or prognosis point of view. Interlaboratory precision, again, was on the higher side. So what SciMed is doing about this? Like we created a plan, a three-way plan. Three-way plan was, what can we get something very quick to the clinical industry? That we based a qualitative assay based on lateral flow assay or a strip assay, which I'll just talk. And in the midterm, we're looking about a year or year and a half, where quantitatively ELISA-based assay would be out for vitamin D for the human blood. And in 2 to 3 years, lab on a chip, which is currently under development, and that is being taken care of by our 100% subsidiary of SciMed, the company called Nanospeed. So with these strategy in place for the short term to the long term, we will be able to get into the market to capture the interest of all the stakeholders. And these antibodies for vitamin A, vitamin D had already been patented, and our prototype assays have clearly shown a greater accuracy as well as the coefficient of variation for our products.